Hello world, and welcome to From the Desk of Daniel J. Heiser. I am your host, Daniel J. Heiser, and today we are going to be checking out a neat little game called Ultimate General Civil War. For those of you who don't know, it is a Civil War era strategy game that was released on Steam a few years ago. I believe it was developed by a guy who was originally a modder for Total War, and then he kind of just went on to develop his own game series, which is absolutely amazing. The prequel to this was Ultimate General Gettysburg, which was definitely a more primitive version of this, and this similar sort of thing. And now this sequel, Ultimate General Civil War, came along, and it was so much better than before. And actually, as of recording this, they have released another game called Ultimate Admiral Age of Sail. So that's got more like naval combat and whatnot, if that floats your boat. But today, I just wanted to check this game out. It's a very interesting game. It's probably one of the best in its very niche genre, but of, Civil War strategy games, it is one of, if not the best. And, well, let's not spend too much time diving on into it, just with words alone. Let's actually check it out. So, we are going to be playing the campaign of the game. And so, the way it begins now is Abraham Lincoln gives a little speech. So we'll just let him do his thing.
Cannot endure permanently. Half slave and half free.
There we go, very dramatic.
I rise, Mr.
But then there's this
President,
bit too.
for the purpose of announcing to the Senate that I have satisfactory evidence that the state of Mississippi, by a solemn ordinance of her people in convention assembled, has declared her separation from the United States.
All right, there we go. Well, how much more pretext do you need to start a civil war? So what's really cool about this game is that it is I guess I would describe it as a Total War-esque sort of strategy game where you've got these individual units and their combat effectiveness is not necessarily rated with some sort of nebulous HP bar, but you actually are given a number of here are how many combat capable, fighting capable men are still in this unit. And so just the sheer number of men left standing is kind of your HP pool, although there's also morale and stamina. So it's very interesting that it's not in a strategy game sense, it doesn't go for like an HP bar or anything like that. There's a lot more to it than that, and so we'll check that out. First, we've got to create our dude. This is going to be our general. So you get this little beginning section where you go through a couple of different options to select a couple of different things that will affect your base stats as you begin. So let us begin on that. We're gonna be given a couple different options that do a couple different things for us, and I'll go through these briefly, and then we'll explore these in more in depth as we actually get into the army building stage of it, which we will get to later. The game starts us off on the first mission, just throws you straight into battle, but after that is when you get to do all your brigade management stuff. So in starting off on this character, we're given a couple different choices, 3 rounds of picks with 3 options each. At first, I'm going to be putting some points into whatever it is that gives me reconnaissance. I'm going to want to get to 4 reconnaissance because that's an ideal reconnaissance level, because that gives you a live update of how many units are on the field, both for yourself and your opponent. So you've got this little power bar that represents how many men are on the field. If you see that power bar change significantly, for example, your opponent gets reinforcements, you're going to see that bar change significantly, and it's very important to be given like a live notice of that as it happens, rather than finding out about it later as those troops actually, fall on top of you and murdernate you. But the other options here are army organization is mandatory on that round. I'm going to be going for another 3 reconnaissance here, and logistics is always going to be nice. And finally, so that's going to put us at our 4 reconnaissance. So this last option, we can kind of do whatever we want. I'm going to go with politics because this does affect how many troops you gain and how much funding you receive after each battle. So I'm going to plow some points into politics just to maximize my rewards per battle. and build my company up that way. But you see, we've got a bunch of different options that we can go down, and I will explore what each of these stats do later, and there's even more than this. Oh, not back. So we'll go into politics, and finally, we have to face a hard choice, which are we going to be supporting the United States or the Confederacy? And in this case, for this campaign, we are going to be playing as the Union because we are generally opposed to slavery. Here is the difficulty selector, is essentially what this is. Brigadier General is the default setting. Major General was originally the hardest setting, but then they did indeed add a legendary mode on top of that. We will be playing through on Major General. Generally, when I play through a game, I find that I prefer it when I'm at the second hardest difficulty setting. I find that the hardest difficulty setting is usually like a super fuck you mode for, you know, people who want that ultimate challenge, but generally one tier down from there is where a strong challenge is at, but it's still kind of a fair fight. You can see the real way that this difficulty selector affects us is primarily the amount of golden recruits we get for each battle. And like I said, politics is very important because it basically undoes this difficulty setting, but we do have to invest career points into it to do that. The enemy is also going to be a bit larger, about 15%. So when it throws a mission at you, in that mission you're going to face 15% more enemies, essentially. So that is a fairly significant increase, even though that number might seem small. So that is where the major difficulty of this setting comes from, and also reputation drop plus 25%. So there is also a reputation system as you win and lose battles and whatnot, and that just means the penalties for losing, or potentially even for just getting a draw, are much more significant. And if you drop below 20 reputation, and we'll go into the reputation system when it becomes more relevant, but if you go below 20 reputation, that's a game over. You get fired, you lose your job essentially. So we want to be competent enough to remain above that. So let's just quit talking about it and actually go ahead with the Major General difficulty. Lastly, here are our stats. So our last bit is we are going to need to name our general. So I'll just come up with a name, an initial and a name. That's what we'll do. That's us, G. Harris. Alrighty. So we will begin and go on into the very first battle. So this was the train station at Philippi, one or the other. So we're going to be approaching from the south here. We need to take this town and secure that point. And Confederate reinforcements are going to be coming from across this side of the river, including an armored train, which is not something we should underestimate. We're going to be moving up this way towards the town, await reinforcements, push them out, blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to start off by sending my troops on over here to hold over here for a moment. Now, I have played through a portion, not the entirety, but a portion of this campaign before, so I do know a few things. I'm not really going to try to cheese anything. That's not the point of this. But let's be honest, I do know that there are going to be some troops, enemy troops up over here, and I do know that I will be receiving some reinforcements from this junction here. So I'm just going to be deploying skirmishers from my rifles and moving up this way while I wait for my reinforcements. So now, like I said, there's no HP bars. It's just, you know, the combat effectiveness of a unit is mainly measured by the number of combat effective men still within it. And then you also have plenty of other stats like ammunition, morale, and condition that will affect their fighting ability, as well as they can be in cover, which is pretty self-explanatory. So what I'm going to do is move Zook up this way and move my skirmishers in to maybe take the first hits on these skirmishers on this overpass, and then I'm going to have Zook run right up this way. He's got almost 700 guns. I'm going to want to get them shooting as fast as possible to deal with this threat right away and not mess around with it too much. You get on in there, you come on around. Zook finally gets a shot off, accomplishes just about nothing. Okay, Well, he gets his 3 kills, and he will keep on moving up. Whereas everybody else will keep picking away at them. Okay, Burns looks like he's pretty messed up. There we go. He's breaking. Now I will hunt him down with my skirmishers. Get Zukon in there so he can have a little bit of an influence. No, it's there we go. A couple of good kills in, and take that ridge line. The tree line, I should say. It's also a ridge line. It's both. Okay, I'm going to send everyone in pursuit of that. We've cleared them off this hill pretty well. Very minimal casualties, which is exactly what we're going for here. Everybody engage burn here. Okay. I am tiring Zook out significantly by running him up and over this hill through these woods. But to Grandmother's house, he must go. There we go, and that's why. I will give him a moment to rest just as soon as we have one. This little eyeball here on the field indicates an observation point. So as soon as we get to here, bam, we're going to be able to reveal the town. And just at that same time, here are some cavalry and reinforcements coming on the field. So it's good to get those guys when we did. We've got somebody behind us, I suppose. Okay, we have this guy coming in behind us, I suppose. Okay, Syl is backing off, so Zook will go back down and take that. Meanwhile, yeah, Hexander made kind of a mistake coming up here. And we will make him pay for that, which will be great. Okay, I should get these guys going. I just want to make quick work of these guys. Just like that. Zook is doing fine up there by himself. I want to keep my general nearby, so generals, as you might expect, they have an aura around them in which they more or less improve their troops in a couple different ways. Morale recovery is a very important one. So these guys are in a melee fight, so it's very important that I keep them motivated and keep morale high. So we have infantry brigades, which have lots of men and lots of rifles, and that's pretty self-explanatory. We have dedicated skirmishers brigades, which are these guys, and they are much smaller brigades, and they are skirmishers. They do pretty much what you would expect. You can also detach skirmishers from a unit like this, which is nice, because it gives you basically a unit of skirmishers to use, to utilize. I'm going to back my skirmishers off. They're not going to catch these guys, however. My cavalry will keep on in the fight with them, and I will keep my general nearby. We will take Hexander out. 16 casualties is unfortunate on Bristow, but that's not a lot for taking an entire skirmisher company or brigade out of the fight. want to get my guys exactly as close as I can without taking hits, and we will set up our guns as close as we can right behind him, just like this. Keep my supply wagon nearby to keep this ammunition stat high. Once that ammunition number hits 0, then your troops take much longer to reload. They will slowly reload as they scrounge up ammunition, but it will happen at a much lower rate. So they are not very combat effective. I'm going to reattach Zook's skirmishers here, and that'll be nice. I got 20 kills with only 3 losses, so that's a significant contribution, and that should keep their morale high as well. Now, my guns are going to start firing in just a moment here, and this will begin the siege of this half of the town. Controlling one side of the river is going to be one issue, and then controlling another side of the river is going to be another issue. But so far, let us just address this one thing, and then we'll move on to the next. My skirmishers take a few unfortunate shots, and they've got artillery on the other side of the river. That is a bummer. That is nothing but a mistake on my part, but it is what it is. Still feel pretty good about this. I've got over 4 hours to get to the other side of the river. Bring my general back, which would be a nice little... Okay. Move my troops into the town now that he's moving. Okay, he's charging at my cavalry. They are going to back off. I will have my infantry engage. Okay, yeah, that was a mistake. Now he's getting a little tired. They're going to get some shots off even and then back away. Bring my general back around here. This is where the action is. Okay, I was not expecting this, but he has completely isolated himself over here, which is a very awkward thing for me to deal with, but it's also a very big mistake on his part. So let me take advantage of that. Using cavalry to isolate units is not a unique idea that I just came up with, unfortunately, I must admit. However, it is indeed a very effective way of dealing with things. Hopefully, my cavalry and everybody else can deal with these guys. I just don't want to lose too many cavalry, even though they're winning this fight. Every cavalryman is pretty precious here. Okay, let's see if I can even catch these guys. Oh, I wish McHenry would just surrender already. But this is all going according to plan. I've still got just under 4 hours to cross the river, so I don't want to take too long dealing with this. This is, however, the best way to deal with this. This is perhaps the best outcome that I could have asked for. Okay, I really should not be wasting their ammunition on those bad shots. But we gotta do what we gotta do. Okay, again, excellent damage on McHenry, but I am worried about Bristow at this point. I don't want to lose this brigade. Okay, you guys are going to absolutely, positively have to come back here and stop messing around over there. Excellent volley from Schaefer. We just gotta keep doing this. We've got 3.5 hours left. Okay. I really am killing time. I need to start doing multiple things at once, because one thing at a time is clearly not cutting it. No, slowly but surely we're doing our job over here. Zook is already exhausted. Alright, I'll give him a moment to rest in town. Okay, there we go. This was very inconvenient, but it had to be done, and now it's done. Beautiful. No, please don't get rear flanked. That's not what I want. Okay, my cavalry really are exhausted from that, but they've earned a break, because look at that. Same with these skirmishers, okay, but they're making their way back. They will soon be back into the fight. What I need to be doing is dealing with Davies now, this damn artillery. It's going to make things mighty inconvenient for us. So, one of the nice features of this mod that I mentioned, the UI mod, is that it changes the visibility lines from black to white, which makes them a lot more visible, and it even adds in segmented sections for artillery to let you know where canister range goes out to, where shell range goes out to, where solid shot range goes out to, which is mighty nice feature of the mod. Let me get my 6-pounder. This is my 6-pounder field gun, yes. Let me get that up into position, see if I can get a little closer to Davies. Davies is the one artillery piece that I see in town. It's the only gun shooting at me, so I want to take it out of the fight. Then I know they have 0 guns, which is exactly what I want. Let me see if I can just squeeze on in here right behind Walton's skirmishers. He is shooting at me, it looks like, so casualties are starting to mount. But if I can just get within shell range over here as well, would be ideal. Almost there. They might just be within range. I'm not sure exactly how that works. But nope, you fire at Davies. As well as you. I really am concentrating my guns right here, which could be a bit dangerous, seeing as he's firing exploding shells at me, but I need this gun taken out. Concentrating my fire might just be the best option at doing so. That may just be within exploding shell range as well. Yes, it is, so that's a decent number of casualties. And now we wait for that to do its thing. Well, Walton's skirmishers take the brunt of it, unfortunate for them. There's the Shattered Brigade from earlier. Nice of you to finally join us. Okay, 74 guns left in Davies is pretty good, but I am coming up on 2.5 hours left to actually get the job done. So I do need to make some decisive action, or rather take decisive action soon. Okay, Davis is almost out of the fight, so I think I can wait on this. Guns are alternating fire. That'll be useful for continuing to take them down. I'm going to be using Zukon in here in this tree line here. This is a perfect tree line for engaging these Confederates across the river, so why would I not do that? But give me just a moment to take Davies out of the equation. It's a lot of wind, so let's speed this up a little bit. Up to speed just a little for just a moment until he goes bye-bye. Okay. So each gun itself requires 25 men to man. So now that he's got under 50, he's got only 2 guns left. This is a decent amount of damage, so he's going to be down to 1 gun pretty soon. Okay, there we go. Davies is gone. Let's go back to real time. Now everybody needs to get on in position. Our job is to engage across this river. Okay, the infantry is going well. Let's get Zook on into position. Perfect. And Zook's skirmishers as well. Hold the line there. Set up the guns right behind. Move them up. General in the forest there. Cavalry on the flank. Okay. Now this lets us focus on Root and just dissect him individually. This could be canister shot range of both of these guns, which would be so devastating for Root. So that's hopefully what happens here. See, with some cavalry, you can dismount them into fights like light infantry of sorts. The melee-only variant of cavalry cannot dismount, because they really only have melee weapons. They would not serve a huge purpose dismounted. But those armed with carbines, like these guys, I can send them on a flank, and they can do their own thing. And they have better stealth, better vision, better accuracy, better everything when they're dismounted. They will mount up, send them across the river. Zook's doing pretty well, so let's send him on in here, across here. What I'll do is I'll send Walton and Loomis up this way. I'll keep their skirmishers here as a screening force. I'll move my artillery down here to start putting pressure on Law, just the same way I did with Root. I am surprised at just how far he is running and how fast he is running. But that does nothing but work, you know, work very well for me. So I'll have these guys walk across the river. Hopefully they don't take too long. Don't want to tire them out. Remember, condition is very important to combat effectiveness, to morale, to a lot of different things. Okay, whatever. Just get in there, start shooting back. Beautiful thing about cavalry, be able to bring him around right behind route like this. That is going to fuck his day up. Okay, we've actually got the town, so now we've started to accomplish our goal. We've got 20 minutes we need to hold out for. I'll get a quick charge in here. These guys probably don't want to stick around this fight for too long, but hey, you never know. Okay, I'll get the skirmishers involved in this fight now as well. Everybody can fire on the law. He will not have a good day. Okay, this is I can really mess with these guys, but I don't know if that's necessarily what I want to be doing. The last of these, they've already almost lost half of their brigades, so let's just dismount them. Start shooting with the carbines. Beautiful. Now keep that up. Oh, come on, don't let skirmishers charging across the river fuck your day up. Just get on in here. Everybody really should be engaging these guys. Okay. See, this is why you want 4 points into recon, because I just immediately saw that he's got a lot more reinforcements on the field all of a sudden. Which is fine, because things have gone our way. But it is something that could have gone quite a bit differently. Okay, let's see how much we can mess up Syl before he gets back. Okay, well, there we go. We held out for long enough, and now we need to prepare for a counterattack. This is nice because it'll give us some defensive positions within the town. But this town is also very hard to hold. This is a fairly difficult objective, but it's totally doable, so I believe we can do it. I'll just give you a moment to, if you want to check these out, read them over. But essentially, we need to hold this town, and there is a lot of people heading our way who don't want us to hold said town. So they're going to set us up on a little scenario here. And yes, there is an armored train that could be coming in and doing a lot of damage to us because they've got a lot of guns, and they are armored, so that would be difficult for us to deal with. It is going to be a hard fight, but entirely possible. Now, a little secret that you wouldn't know this the first time playing this game, but it's something you do pick up on. First of all, you can't control the time down here, so you can speed it up, slow it down, or pause it. So I will pause for just a moment here. One little thing that you may or may not know, but you probably don't know, is that you keep Loomis and Walton after this, as well as Woods and Scales. You don't keep any other units in this match. So Zook has done a good job of going in there and taking the brunt of things, and no one's really taken too much of a beating. But I do want to keep Zook on the front line, have as many losses on him, and protect everyone else if I can. Okay, I'll just issue a few quick orders. I'm going to want to fall back to more this position. I will keep my cavalry right behind the line to be ready for a counter-attack. Everyone's going to have to contract in a very defensive formation. No doubt about it. And move my artillery to, let's say, here. Okay, let's form up around that and see how that goes. I will also move my supply wagon. There is a supply depot right here that hopefully I can reinforce everything off of. But I will also move my supply wagon to the other side of the river. What's interesting is that the supply aura that they give can actually go across the river. So there's really no downside to keeping them over here, and if I really do need ammunition for some reason, I can just move my troops back to the rear of the town here and get the benefit of that wagon across the river. As you can see, the balance of power has already shifted, so there are some Confederates on the way at the moment. And I gotta set up the best positions here I can. Okay, we'll do this for now. Hopefully we have enough skirmishers around to actually have vision of anything important we might need. Okay, here's the first opponents. And, okay, multiple directions at once. Great. Let's try doing this, maybe. Have Zook more or less hold this flank by himself. Okay. You want to back off and give me more room to maneuver? Alright. So like I said, I have played through a bit of this this game before, but I have not actually beaten it. So this will hopefully be me just actually playing the game and beating it for the first time as well. As you can see, we just got a lot of reinforcements coming our way. They're not quite on the field yet, but they will be here momentarily. There we go. Let's see. So this is another corps. They're both first corps, but this is another corps. I'm going to take these three guys. I'm actually going to have them all independently deploy their skirmishers. And then take everyone, tell them to get into town as quickly as possible. You three guys even run. Artillery, let's set you up like right here along the river as close as we possibly can. You'll get some fire support from there. And your supply wagon can join our supply wagon. Beautiful. Okay, now that those guys are doing their thing over there, they're going to head out. So one of the other changes of this mod is that it actually improves the effectiveness of fortifications, like fortifications like this that you can actually deploy into in such a way. In the base game, they function really weirdly, where they're good cover from one direction, but as soon as you get someone from like multiple directions, you get kind of screwed. Even though the cover is still between you, it's kind of weird. So it's really easy to, for example, flank this squad or even flank Zook. Because if you're coming this way, if you shoot him from like this direction or this direction, this guy will still flank even though you can see he's clearly deployed all over. It's weird. So that's something that this mod improves. So we'll see. We'll test that out on Loomis's skirmishers and see just how that goes. Although he's vastly outnumbered here. This is kind of unfair. Let's have everyone focus on Grant. Okay, let's have these guys back out. That really hurt, but it did force a lot of people to build up right in front of us in very not so smart way. Okay, here comes the train, which is not something I want to mess around with, so let's just focus all our fire on that, even though we do have some nasty artillery right in front of us. Actually, let's have him focus on scales. That might just be the best idea for him at the moment, because it looks like they're in canister range. Scales is taking a real nasty beating. We just got to keep that up. I don't understand why Wheeler's just sitting off over there, but he's really buying me a lot of time, which I certainly do appreciate. Okay, now that Scales is back, let's focus on that train. So this first mission, it really is a tutorial mission. So it's kind of notoriously difficult, you know, compared to a tutorial mission in any other game. But ultimately, you know, if you know what you're doing, it's not too difficult of a mission. So I'm holding the line fairly well right here. Here comes our reinforcements. Beautiful. I don't even really need them, but I would like to get them into the fight ASAP. So Bruce and Milroy, you guys get up here. Again, I want to try to avoid taking too many casualties on Loomis and Walton. That's just a good idea in general. And I also don't want these guys, because they are valuable. Oh, these guys are exhausted at just the worst time. Okay, so only my artillery can really deal with this train. However, my artillery just really dealt with that train. Holy shit. Alright, shoot at the train, boys. Let's see if that does a goddamn thing. Probably not, but... Fuck yo right. Okay, you gotta get in here. You gotta do this. You gotta do this. You gotta do this. You gotta do this. There we go. Alright. I don't think it's necessary. It's definitely actually not necessary. That train was on its way out. But I took him down anyways. God bless America. Okay, these guys are exhausted, so it's really not a good idea to have them out on the front, actually. But because we're doing pretty well, and they are fairly expendable. You know, it is what it is. I will send everybody's skirmishers back to them. Okay, everyone's holding the line fairly well, so we're doing really well here. I'd say victory is pretty much assured. We do have these guns back here. 6-pounder field guns are not great at anything other than point blank. So we'll try to move them up. Continue to hold the town. Okay, Colquitt getting in position over here. Just barely not able to get a shot off, but he's a formidable defensive force right here. So I feel pretty safe on that flank, and it doesn't look like they're going to be able to do much, even in the center here. Apologies if, by some chance, you'd prefer a little more commentary or some such. I'm used to doing commentary on gaming plays and stuff, but never actually playing and commenting at the same time. It does require a little bit more multitasking to focus on playing the game and hopefully saying, you know, stuff that's hopefully interesting and relevant and useful. But that's definitely something that will improve over time as well. See, Scales is the only thing that might be able to hit Edwards, so let's have him do just that. And it looks like all we gotta do is hold the line for another hour or so, which should not be too particularly difficult. Deploy skirmishers here just to hopefully distract his artillery. Now they can't even see the skirmishers. Well, whatever. I'll have the skirmishers just sitting out here anyways. Okay, these guys are starting to catch their breath, and it doesn't look like there's much else my opponent can do. So if we're just going to be holding the line, let me fast forward to the end, or at least to where it gets interesting. Hatch wants to come in here. Alright, I mean, I'll let him try. There's a bunch of artillery that's just about to set up. It's going to ruin his day. There we go, just like that. Okay, so Wheeler's waiting for Scales to come on over here. So again, we'll keep Loomis and Walton safe for now, as well as Scales and Woods, but they're pretty good where they're at now. See if we can get everybody to focus on Edwards back here. Just fuck his day up. There we go, just like that. No, he is running out of ammunition as well. Yeah, we just gotta wait out the clock. Alright, everybody. I'm tired of Hatch's shit. There we go. Just like that. You know what? Everybody focus on Grant because he's nearby. Let's see what we can do there. Maybe you should focus on Parrott. I don't want to get too aggressive with the rest of my troops. I don't want to take too many losses unnecessarily, even though it really doesn't matter in terms of preserving my own army. But I will let this artillery just do its thing and rack up plenty of experience that way. So troops do gain experience and they do gain benefits for doing so. They do get perks. Walton, for example, you can see he's already got one perk here, which means he's level 1. You can see that star right there. That's his rank level. So you can have 1, 2, or 3 level squads that get 1, 2, or 3 perks to benefit from. And so I'm just going to let this artillery sit here for a little bit longer. They're doing nothing but getting kills, which is excellent. Specifically, I care about Woods. Yeah, almost 500 kills there. Scales, over 500. So we're just going to continue to let them do their thing. This part may get a little boring, so I might I might cut. But I am gonna let these guys just gain a little bit of experience. Okay, well, there we go. That is a victory, and I feel pretty good about that. Coming in with 6,000 dudes and losing just a little over 600. Meanwhile, the Confederates were kind of rocked, but that was the point of me doing my job. Always good on a victory screen to look at this kill-death ratio, and wow. Okay, these guys did pretty good. 64.1 to 1 KDR. Good for them. And that's exactly what we wanted. This is great, excellent XP on these guys, and these guys. So we can see what happened to our officers. Fortunately, nobody died. Scales just got a promotion, which is excellent. Everybody else just got some XP, undoubtedly. And here's some weapons that we got after the battle. Now, rescued means it was ours, and we were able to recover it after the battle. Captured means it was the opponent's, and we were able to capture it off of them. So these are the tools that we got after the battle. Excellent, because that'll be something that we can mess around with here on the Army screen. So, for completing the tutorial, we get the Civil War Campaign Medal, because we have participated in the Civil War Campaign. Hooray, good for us. And this is also our battle reward. You can see what you win after a battle. You can kind of see how the pieces start to come together now. So we won a career point that's available for us to spend, and I'll get into that in just a moment. We won some reputation, which, as I mentioned, reputation is very important for continuing your campaign. We also won some cash and some recruits. And this was, of course, increased by our politics stat that we have already invested in the prologue. So we will accept those rewards, and here we are on the company screen. Not company screen, I keep calling it the company screen. On the Army screen, you can see the Loomis, the Walton, the Woods, and the Scales that I was talking about. We kept them all after the battle. So they did fairly well for themselves. I'm very happy with this. This is an excellent start to the campaign. And so you can increase individual troop numbers here. You can change what weapons they are equipped with. You can select their perks as they increase in veterancy. You can change out their commanding officer. Yes, there's a lot you can do here. You can have multiple brigades in a division. Each division requires an officer to lead it as well. And then you can have multiple divisions within a corps. And then here you go. So here is my General G. Harris, and here he is. He's a 2-star general. Major general. So we are able to pick not just one, but actually 2 different perks on our general when we want to pick those out. And let's go over some of these things on the screen, because this stuff is going to be relevant for the rest of the playthrough. So I might as well go over it for people who don't know. So let me just briefly cover a couple things. See up here, supply. This is how much supply you'd bring into battle to supply your troops. So I don't have too much cash. Let's just go with 10,000 cash, 10,000 supply right now to supply our troops. Hopefully we'll be able to carry more supply with us later. Over here on the Army page, you can see the weapons that are available for your various brigades, your stockpile of them, how much is in the armory, what they would cost to purchase, what they would net you if you sold. And there are multiple types of units. So here we have infantry, skirmisher weapons, cavalry weapons, and artillery pieces. Over here in the barracks, you can see we've got lots of officers that we can recruit, and maintaining your officer corps is a very important part of Ultimate General Civil War. You want to have good leadership on your units. All that stuff is tracked. So the leadership stat of your corps commander, of your division commander, and of your brigade commander all matters. There's a lot of complexity of how these things come together to determine how your units fight, how well they fight, their leadership, all sorts of things. So maintaining your officers is a very important part of the game. And here is our career tab, where we spend the career points I was talking about. So as I mentioned with politics, this is going to increase the amount of rewards you get per battle, which is of course very important because that can even snowball into the campaign. If you can get enough resources, you can just build up a massive army. Although the AI in Ultimate General Civil War, it does scale its army based on your army size. So you cannot get to a point where you just absolutely dwarf the opponent and just win every battle, automatically. There's always going to be some sort of challenge or fight to it. That is something that you can actually disable with the UI mod that I was talking about, but I chose not to. So we'll never be able to completely outnumber and overwhelm our opponent. However, the resources that we get is going to be hugely useful to us to building and maintaining our company. Again, I said company, army. Economy, again, is a discount on any of the equipment or weapons that you purchase, so that's useful. Medicine will save your men after a battle. That's very useful. Training makes it less expensive to train veterans. You see, veterans cost money, rookies are free. But rookies, you're going to diminish your stats if you recruit too many of them. So there's the trade-off, there's the cost-benefit between veterans and rookies, and the training stat can help mitigate that. Army organization allows us to have more brigades, more divisions, and more corps. So we're going to want to expand our army as we play through the campaign. Logistics is going to, does it even say right here? Yeah, this is the amount of ammunition that your troops are going to carry onto battle in themselves, which can help with your logistics in-game and can help keep your troops from running out of ammunition. And of course, reconnaissance is the stat that I was mentioning. It's very useful to have 4 points in there, but I don't think I'm going to throw any more points into reconnaissance the rest of this campaign. So here we're back on the army screen. Obviously, you do your army stuff, you build up your army, you see how that works, and we will become more familiar with this throughout the run. So we'll go into all of it at some point, I am sure. But there's also here the battles map. So this is going to show us basically the missions we have available to play to us for this campaign. So the way it works is basically you play a battle, you build your army, and then so here we are on the battles page. So we've got a couple battles here. Now this, you can tell the difference between these icons. First Bull Run is a major battle. So as soon as we play and finish the Battle of First Bull Run, we're going to be moving on to the next part of the campaign. However, we can play these. They're not really side missions. I don't know. You know, why wouldn't you play through them? So here they are. You can see the benefits we would get from winning, but also the penalties we would take from a draw or a loss. So there is also a risk reward for each individual mission, whether you go after them and attempt them or not. And once you get through all the minor missions, you can go into the major battle. And once you go into the major battle, that's going to take you on to the next phase of the campaign. Let's see, in addition to money and recruits, we also have reputation, that on the camp page, you can spend reputation for a couple of different things. You can spend it on equipment, you can spend it on officers, you can spend it on new recruits and money sometimes, although not right now at this very instance. And again, if that number goes below 20, you get fired. So there is also the risk reward, there is also that balance between benefiting your armies with these influence points that you spend, and, you know, not failing your mission. If you have a high enough reputation as well, your troops will have a higher morale because they're happy to serve underneath you. So there is that additional layer of the reputation system. Not only can you use it as a resource and potentially as a way to game over, but you can choose whether you'd have the morale benefit of the reputation, or maybe you want to spend it on something else. So there's a lot of trade-offs between different things. Which perk do you want to go with on your squads? What do you want to do with your officers? What do you want to do with your equipment? So there's a lot of thought and planning that has to be go into that between each battle, and you're going to spend you know, a lot of time on the camp page, maybe just as much time on the camp page as you do actually in battles themselves. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take a look at my units. I want to get everything squared away. I'm going to tackle Distress Call next before we move on to the Battle of First Bull Run. I am going to build up my army, which I will go into. I will show that with you, but I will do most of that myself. I will build up the army, and then I will come back with what I've done and what I will be bringing into the next battle. So let me get to it. So normally I would go ahead and do this stuff on my own and not waste screen time on it, but because this is, you know, the entire process of going through your army and kind of figuring a few things out after a battle, and there's going to be a lot of that going on, I do want to show that off a little bit in the first episode to kind of give you an idea of what's going on when making these decisions. So first of all, I noticed that a battleable run allows me to bring 10 brigades into the battle, and I'm going to want to bring 10 brigades into the battle, which means I need to put one more point into army organization. However, I will be getting a career point from Distress Call if I win the battle. So I don't need to spend necessarily my first point on that. So I'll send it instead on Politics to increase my reward that I'm going to get out of the next battle. The next career point is going to go into Armament Organization, so I can bring the maximum number of troops into the first Battle of Bull Run. So that decision is made. There we go. Now in terms of leadership, G. Harris is the highest ranking officer I have, so it's good that he's the Corps Commander right now. Over here in my 1st Division, I can actually buy and replace my current Division Commander with a Brigadier General. This is the highest ranking officer I have access to at the moment, so I absolutely do want him to be on in there. I'm also going to want to increase out to a 2nd Division if I can. These guys are about even, so I'll put him in charge there. Again, you want the best leadership you can in your Corps Commanders, and then down to your Division Commanders, and then on down to your Brigade Commanders, which is something we are going to look at next. So, let's see. Got a lot of officers I can put on in there. And I'm going to put my 2 highest ones on these infantry squads. Specifically because doing so allows me to take more rookies without having to actually pay for veterans. So you see their stats still go down, but not nearly as much. And so long as they remain at least rank 1, they still have access to their bonus, which is really handy. So now I can have a 1500 squad that's Vet 1. You know, this early in the campaign, that's very useful to have. Same with Eccles over here. With artillery, you want to...
Yes, sir.
Remember, you can have 25 men on each gun. So first thing you always want to do, like before anything else really, is kind of just top off your artillery squadron so they're at least at full, for however many guns they have, they're at least at a full crew for that. But if you go beyond that and you want to buy a whole new gun, not only does that cost you a gun out of your army that you got to buy, but it's going to take a whole 25 men to increase a to add a single gun to an artillery brigade. And if you want to make units, it looks kind of like this. So you can make an infantry brigade. Again, you choose the officer, the weapon, the capacity. You can also have artillery, cavalry, and skirmish brigades. And so, with all of these options at our disposal, I am going to go ahead and redo our company. Not redo it, but I'm going to go ahead and make a few changes, make a few improvements, and ready ourselves up for the next battle. So thank you very much. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed either the gameplay or the commentary. I hope it was informative or entertaining or what have you. Join us back for the next one, because I will be out here continuing this. And, yeah. Thanks so much for watching.